#10 Star Trek canon events must happen before Strange New Worlds ends. Star Trek. Strange New Worlds has beautifully bridged the gap between Discovery and the original series, giving fans a modern yet faithful prequel to the adventures of Captain Kirk and the Enterprise crew. However, as the series inevitably inches closer to the events of TOS, several major canonical milestones still need to occur before it can conclude. These key moments will not only tie the show neatly into the established timeline, but also give emotional and narrative closure to the journeys of Pike, Spock, and the rest of the crew. Here are 10 Star Trek canon events that must happen before Strange New Worlds ends. 1. Pike's tragic accident must finally happen. Captain Christopher Pike's fate is one of Star Trek's most defining tragedies. Canon established in the Menagerie reveals that Pike saves a group of cadets during a training accident, suffering radiation burns that leave him paralyzed and confined to a life support chair. Strange New Worlds has brilliantly explored Pike's awareness of this fate since Season 1, and the looming inevitability has defined his leadership. Before the show ends, fans must witness this event play out, both as the fulfillment of canon and as a deeply emotional payoff to Pike's story. 2. Spock's transfer to the Enterprise under Kirk. Spock is destined to become Captain Kirk's loyal first officer aboard the Enterprise. Right now, he serves under Pike and is still developing his balance between logic and emotion. Eventually, the show must depict Spock's transition into Kirk's command crew. That transfer marks the end of one chapter and the start of the most legendary partnership in Star Trek history, showing how and why Spock chooses to remain on the Enterprise under Kirk, rather than move on, could be one of Strange New Worlds' most powerful scenes. 3. The departure of number 1 Una-Chen Riley. Majel Barrett's number 1 only appeared in the original series pilot, The Cage, but Strange New Worlds expanded her into a fully realized character. Eventually, Una will need to leave her post as first officer to align with canon. How and why she departs, whether through reassignment, retirement, or tragedy, will be a major emotional milestone. Given how beloved Rebecca Ramín's portrayal has become, her exit could be one of the show's most poignant send-offs. 4. The death or reassignment of Lon Noonien-Singh. Lon's lineage ties directly to Con Noonien-Singh, and her presence aboard the Enterprise before Kirk's time is one of the show's boldest canon-adjacent choices. Since she doesn't appear or get mentioned in TOS, her fate must be resolved before the series concludes. Whether she dies heroically, vanishes into a classified Section 31 mission, or chooses to leave Starfleet behind, Lon's story must end in a way that respects her legacy and subtly ties back to the looming specter of Khan's genetic legacy. 5. The birth of the Federation-Klingon Cold War. The uneasy peace between the Federation and the Klingon Empire seen in TOS must have roots in this era. While Strange New Worlds has already featured Klingon politics, it hasn't yet depicted the critical breakdown that led to the Cold War dynamics seen during Kirk's 5-year mission. Pike and Spock's encounters with Klingon commanders could set this shift in motion, creating a bridge between Discovery's full-scale war and TOS's tense stalemate. 6. The rise of Starfleet's no-win scenario, philosophy. The Kobayashi-Maru test, introduced in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, is deeply connected to the lessons Starfleet officers learn about leadership and sacrifice. Strange New Worlds already touched on this concept, but before it ends, we should see how this no-win scenario officially becomes part of Starfleet training, likely influenced by Pike's accident and its moral implications. His story could become the emotional blueprint for the test that defines Kirk's philosophy decades later. 7. The fate of Dr. M'Benga and Nurse Chapel. Dr. Joseph M'Benga and Christine Chapel both appear in TOS, but under very different circumstances. M'Benga is only a guest character there, while Chapel is still aboard the Enterprise under Kirk, heartbroken over Spock. Strange New Worlds must show what causes M'Benga to step away from his prominent role and how Chapel evolves into the woman we see in the 23rd century. Their evolving relationship and moral conflicts could form one of the series' final emotional through-lines. 8. Kirk's rise to captain of the Enterprise. Paul Wesley's recurring portrayal of James T. Kirk has already offered glimpses of the legend before his command. Eventually, Strange New Worlds must show how he becomes captain of the Enterprise. Pike's departure, whether by accident or reassignment, would naturally lead to Kirk's promotion, showing that transition could make for a fitting series finale, bridging the Pike and Kirk eras in a way that satisfies both legacy fans and newcomers. 9. The seeds of the Talos IV storyline. The Cage and the Menagerie both revolve around the mysterious planet Talos IV and the telepathic Talosians. Since Strange New Worlds has already revisited that storyline briefly, it's likely the show will return to it before ending. Pike's connection to Vina and Talos IV represents